You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world. You make your way up the short path to the cabin. You'll find the princess within. A warning before you go any further. She will lie, she will cheat, and she will do everything in her power to stop you from slaying her. Don't believe a word she says. We're not going to go through with this, right? She's a princess. We're supposed to save princesses, not slay them. Ignore him. He doesn't know what he's talking about. The interior of the cabin is almost entirely bare. The air is stale and musty, and the floor and walls are painted in a fine layer of dust. The only furniture of note is a plain wooden table. Perched on that table is a pristine blade. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right. You take the blade from the table. It'd be rather difficult to slay the princess and save the world without it. The door to the basement creaks open, revealing a staircase faintly illuminated by an unseen light in the room below. This is an oppressive place. The air feels heavy and damp, a hint of rot filtering from the ancient wood. If the princess really lives here, slaying her is probably doing her a favor. Her voice carries up the stairs.
Who's there?
She sounds dangerous. It's almost as if she's the one in charge down here. Don't let it fool you. It's all part of the manipulation. Good. You're still listening to reason. You walk down the stairs and lock eyes with the princess. There's a heavy chain around her wrist, binding her to the far wall of the basement. She's so coldly beautiful. Is she really a threat to the world? Focus on the task at hand.
And there you are. Are you here to kill me or something?
You step forward, your grip on the blade tightening as you steel your resolve.
Oh? No talking then? Fine. What even makes you think you can kill me? I'm probably chained up in this basement for a reason, right? And if that knife is the only weapon you have, you'll have to get close enough to use it. So, you should just drop it. Best not to risk finding out what I can do.
She's unarmed. If you hesitate now, it'll be too late. End this. The blade tumbles out of your trembling hands and drops to the floor with an unceremonious clang.
Thank you. Maybe now we can just talk.
Against your better judgment, you step forward to speak with the princess face to face, unarmed. We'll be fine. I don't know what you're hoping to accomplish here, but I can assure you there's no reasoning with her. Just make sure you don't forget about the blade on the floor. You're going to need it.
So here we are. What an awkward start to a relationship. Oh, have you decided what to do with me?
You know why you're here. Doubt, unfortunately, clouds your thoughts as you attempt to run her through. A moment of distraction and hesitation is all she needed to sidestep your thrust and deliver a catastrophic blow to your jaw. It feels like you've been hit with a sledgehammer. You can feel bone grinding on bone where your jaw has been fractured. Holy shit, that hurts! Though she's unarmed, the shock of that first strike is enough to stagger you, putting you and the princess on somewhat equal footing. Your blade slashes through the air again and again, and her fists connect with your body as many times or more, each impact as heavy as that first bone-crushing hit. We can still turn this around. You and the princess stare at each other, both gasping for breath, equally exhausted. You probably won't make it out of here alive, but you can at least make sure that she won't make it out of here either. Excuse me? Do you think this is what I wanted to happen? I have a duty to state the facts of the situation, and honestly, it's a miracle anyone is still standing right now. Can you not feel all those ruptured organs bouncing around in there? If the princess doesn't do our friend in herself, internal bleeding is certain to finish the job. The two of you clash for the final time. You feel your ribs break as she delivers a heavy blow, but you push through the pain, falling forward and sinking your blade deep into the princess's heart.
Oh.
The two of you fall to the floor.
This was fun.
The princess gasps, her voice an unhealthy rasp as her lungs start to fill with blood.
You put up more of a fight than I thought you would. But I have to wonder, do you really think this is the end?
But you don't have time to worry over such things. Everything goes dark, and you die. You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world. A warning before you go any further. She will lie, she will cheat, and she will do everything in her power to stop you from slaying her. Don't believe a word she says.
Lying and cheating doesn't sound like her at all. Not that it matters. It's not like she can lie or cheat in the middle of a fight.
Are you sure about that?
The point of my warning wasn't to start an argument over what circumstances the princess is capable of lying in. It was to give you some broadly applicable advice. The princess will do and say whatever she thinks it will take to get her out of there. So don't trust her. Ever. Are we clear? Crystal, let's just get on with it already.
The cabin is tighter than its exterior would suggest. Its cold stone walls press in on you, as if trying to forcefully direct you towards your destination. The only furniture of note is a black iron altar with a pristine blade perched on its edge. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right.
No knife this time. Right then, fisticuffs it is. Probably more fair to her anyway. Wouldn't want to feel like we cheated our way to a win.
As long as you can still get the job done. And don't forget that the blade is waiting for you upstairs if you happen to change your mind. The door to the basement creaks open, revealing a rough stone staircase, its walls pressing at your sides and tightening as you descend. The air seeping from below is heavy and oppressive, with an almost sulfuric odor to it. If the princess lives here, slaying her would probably be doing her a favor. Her fierce voice carries up the stairs.
Is that another challenger? Finally. It's been ages since I've had a good fight.
This isn't what she sounded like last time. Her voice is a little deeper, almost threatening.
Good. Sounds like my kind of princess.
As much as I appreciate the enthusiasm, just make sure you don't let your bloodlust get to your head. You need to stay focused and keep your wits about you. Remember, you're here to slay the princess, not to have a good fight. As you descend the final step, the form of the princess comes into view, a large shackle leading from her wrist to the basement wall. Looks like she could rip those chains out of the wall without a second thought.
Oh, it's you again. I'd been hoping you'd find your way back here. Good to see that death doesn't stick for either of us. But no little knife this time, huh? Ugh, I hope you're not just here to chat. I've been itching for a rematch. Aside from your empty hands, you look exactly the same.
All right, fine. If you're not going to address it, I will. What? You've already met the princess has already met you, and the two of you killed each other. Did you think you'd be able to just openly talk about all that without me noticing? Maybe. You did seem to just gloss over the whole thing for a while. Of course I glossed over it. When a colleague says something insane, glossing over it is one of the best ways to stay focused and keep moving forward. But enough is enough. I believe you, and that's all the more reason to take this seriously. You don't know that whatever brought the two of you back to life isn't a fluke. And beyond that, do you know who doesn't remember anything that happened last time? Me! I don't remember. Are you okay? Of course I'm not okay! As far as we're all concerned, the fate of my world is still very much on the line. Not all of us have the luxury of jumping over to a parallel universe the second we die. I'm going to take that silence as a sign that from this moment on, you're going to treat the task before you with the utmost importance and seriousness. I'm so glad that we're finally all on the same page.
Then why are you just standing there? Fight me.
I guess we'll have to see how this goes. Your hands empty, you charge the princess. Quit the pessimism, will you? Right? It's almost like you don't want us to beat her. No, look, I'm rooting for you, I really am. I'm just doing my best to keep my expectations grounded. You don't have a weapon. You're supposed to have a weapon. We'll be fine. Just watch. You attack, fists raised, and the two of you fall into combat. Your clawed fingers tear into her flesh, and her fists and elbows return the blows in kind, bruises blossoming in her wake, and blood vessels rupturing in vivid sprays of gore.
Not bad. You're tougher than I thought you'd be.
Hear that? She respects us. We can pull this off. Yeah, you're right.
But without that knife, you'll never be enough.
Her knee connects with your sternum with a loud, violent crack. The wind leaves your lungs, and as you struggle for breath, you can feel something flooding in to fill the space. Hot blood, suffocating you from the inside.
You have to want to kill me. Like this.
You don't so much as see her movement before she deals the killing blow. Everything goes dark, and you die. Are you serious? Well, that's it? That's it. Like hell it is. We're not giving up that easy. Now get up. Didn't you hear me? You're dead. There's no getting up from that. Wait, no, that's not right. You're not dead anymore. Yes. Your eyes bolt open and you push yourself back to your feet. You're alive. The princess takes a step back and looks down at her pulp-covered fists.
I could have sworn I killed you. That's your face splattered on the walls and dripping from my hands. You don't. I don't even know how you're talking to me.
You raise your hands and touch the front of your head. She's not wrong.
What? What did she do? What are we missing?
Who cares if we're missing our face? We can fight just fine without one. The two of you clash once more. It's not as one-sided as I feared, but it's still a far cry from what I'd hoped. Her injuries, though numerous, pale in comparison to yours, and the wounds you've inflicted upon her barely seem to have slowed her down. As much as you're trying to ignore it, adrenaline pushing you far past your limits, every movement burns.
This is getting boring. Are you even trying to keep up with me?
She lands another devastating, no, lethal blow. Everything goes dark, again. And you die, again. You know what I'm going to say. That we're not dead?
Yeah, that we're not dead. Come on, get up. If we can just keep going, we're bound to wear her down eventually.
Are you sure she can't do what we're doing right now?
There's only one way to find out.
Once more, you push yourself back to your mangled feet.
How are you still moving? How are you still doing anything? Bodies aren't supposed to look like that.
An uncharacteristic terror seems to grip her voice. Have we ever seen her afraid before? No, we haven't.
This is how we win. We can do this forever.
I'm going to put you out of your misery. I don't like looking at you like this. You're all twitching and wrong.
I'd like to see her try. We're invincible.
Her fist flies towards where your face used to be, your twisted body incapable of moving out of the way. And then you see nothing.
Everything goes dark and we die?
Yes, something like that. Well, don't you have something to say?
Yeah, I quit.
You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path...
All right, change of plans. We're taking the blade this time.
Now, why would we ever do that? Because she absolutely destroyed us? She sure did, but what a great way to go. We lost our face. Yes, it was hilarious. It was horrifying.
Does it matter? We lost.
Oh, why so glum, Rage Boy? I thought you were brave. I thought you were proud. Was all that bravado just hot air?
Look, it was just... The fight was better the first time, and the first time we had a weapon. Well, this is just great. Let me cut to the chase. Clearly you've already been here.
Yeah, you think? What does here even mean, though? You've told us about the path of the princess and all of that already, but this is a very different path than the last one.
That's a good point. Everything here is a little... off.
Yes, precisely. And if you'd given me 2 seconds to finish my thought, I would have said that.
Oh, you're actually letting me talk now. Great. If you've already been here, it means you've seen things you aren't supposed to have seen, and you know things that you aren't supposed to know. This doesn't look like a path in the woods if reality seems distorted. It's because reality is distorted.
So you knew this could happen? You knew we'd be able to restart like this?
Look, if the world around you is changing, especially all the way out here, then that means you're nearing the point of no return. Whatever happens next, that's it. There won't be any more do-overs. So you'd better take things seriously.
Good, we're all on the same page.
It isn't long before you find yourself at the end of the path, staring up at the cabin on the hill. You'll find the princess within, as I'm sure you already know. End her.
That's it? No final words of advice?
I'd rather not waste any more time. I'm sure that any advice I'd give at this point is something you've already heard.
Don't be so hard on yourself. We all wind up in creative ruts now and then. I'm sure if you put your mind to it, you could think of something worth telling us.
The interior of the cabin is a place that feels long forgotten. There was once an elegance to its construction, carved marble columns holding a high arched roof, vaulted windows letting in the weak starlight. But that is how it was. Now there is a growth that has overtaken it. A viscous fluid seeps from cracks in the stone walls, and it congeals into chaotic streaks of writhing nerves and wet clumps of living meat.
That's horrible.
I think it's kind of nice. Makes the room feel alive, doesn't it? The only furniture of note is a pulsating pedestal, a pristine blade perched on its edge. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right.
We'll need it if we want to do things right.
I say we leave it to rust.
Let's not make the same mistake twice. We could have won if we had it last time. Take it.
You step forward and approach the door to the basement, hesitating before you open it. Almost as if you don't see it. But you must, because it's right there in front of you.
All we see is a damn mirror.
It's a bit grimy.
Why don't we wipe it clean?
Wipe what clean? The door?
The mirror.
What are you talking about? You're standing in front of a door. Whatever non-door thing you think you're looking at, it isn't real, because if it were real, I'd know about it.
But it has to be real. It's right there.
Does it matter if it's actually real or not? Talking about it gets under his skin. That's all that matters. We should talk about it even more. Let's just smash it and get it over with. I'm ready to get violent.
We won't be able to see what's in there if we smash it.
Do whatever you want with it. The mirror isn't real, so how you handle it doesn't matter, aside from wasting dangerous amounts of time. You bring your fist crashing down against the door leading to the basement. As if on command, it slowly slides open, scraping against the stone floor, its ancient hinges moaning as it reveals the dim path ahead.
Why am I not surprised?
You step forward into the darkness. The stairs leading down to the basement are at once both narrow and grandiose. A high-vaulted ceiling stretches up into a gloom beyond your sight, while walls wet with tumorous growths press in uncomfortably at your sides. You feel both unprotected and trapped, at once exposed and claustrophobic. The air is thick, its odor an oppressive violence, the metallic scent of fresh blood twisting with the nauseating embers of charred remains.
If the princess lives here, slaying her is probably doing her a favor.
Her voice, a bellowing rage, roars up the stairs.
So you've returned. Do you intend to weakly claw your fingers across my skin? Or have you finally decided to try and kill me properly? I think you'll find it won't be so simple. I've changed. The way your flesh felt grinding beneath my fist, it woke something in me. That wasn't a fight. It was something worse. I'm something worse now. Why don't you come down and see what you've made of me?
Do you hear that?
Well, sounds like we got to her last time. Let's keep pushing, see what else we can make happen.
You make your way to the bottom of the stairs. The chamber's walls are painted in blood, a deep, sickening red that drips down in clotted streams onto the charred corpses that make up its floor. This place reeks of torment, of ripped skin and burning bone. The princess stands in its center, muscles flayed and bare and weeping, draped in a tattered dress of her own skin. Her heart beats from its place in her open chest.
Do you know what I'm going to do to you?
There's not so much a moment of hesitation before she steps forward. Her chains pull taut, holding fast as she strains against them. The cuff around her wrist digs deeper into her skin. Blood drips from the place where metal meets flesh. And then, with a nauseating sound, the skin tears. It plops to the ground, and she pulls her red, glistening arm free from her bindings. She is loose, and she is coming for you.
She wants us to be afraid because she wants us to think she can make us suffer. Don't give her the satisfaction.
That's right, no fear.
She's bigger than the last time, but she's pulling herself apart. She's practically done most of the work for us. We don't even have a weapon. It doesn't matter. I refuse to go out any way that isn't kicking and screaming.
Time happened. You happened. But none of that matters. We're together again, and I'll have what you denied me.
She bounds across the room, her fists ready, her heart set upon your destruction. With a horrifying squelch, you are unwound.
I hope you weren't planning on dying. We're going to make this last forever. Huh. I feel cold. I've never felt cold before.
The cabin is tighter than its exterior would suggest. Its cold stone walls press in on you, as if trying to forcefully direct you towards your destination. The only furniture of note is a black iron altar with a pristine blade perched on its edge. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right. No knife this time. Right then, fisticuffs it is. Probably more fair to her anyway. Wouldn't want to feel like we cheated our way to a win. As long as you can still get the job done, and don't forget that the blade is waiting for you upstairs if you happen to change your mind. The door to the basement creaks open, revealing a rough stone staircase, its walls pressing at your sides and tightening as you descend. The air seeping from below is heavy and oppressive, with an almost sulfuric odor to it. If the princess lives here, slaying her would probably be doing her a favor. Her fierce voice carries up the stairs.
Is that another challenger? Finally. It's been ages since I've had a good fight.
This isn't what she sounded like last time. Her voice is a little deeper, almost threatening.
Good. Sounds like my kind of princess.
As much as I appreciate the enthusiasm, just make sure you don't let your bloodlust get to your head. You need to stay focused and keep your wits about you. Remember, you're here to slay the princess, not to have a good fight. As you descend the final step, the form of the princess comes into view, a large shackle leading from her wrist to the basement wall. Looks like she could rip those chains out of the wall without a second thought.
Oh, it's you again. I'd been hoping you'd find your way back here. Good to see that death doesn't stick for either of us. But no little knife this time, huh? No, I hope you're not just here to chat. I've been itching for a rematch. I'll be waiting.
You make your way back up the stairs to the cabin above. The princess, surprisingly true to her word, lets you leave. The blade remains where you left it, on the wrought iron altar.
Great. Now pick it up and march back down there. I'm tired of us constantly moving in circles instead of fighting her like we're supposed to.
You take the blade from the altar. It will be difficult to slay the princess and save the world without a weapon, as I'm sure you're all too aware by now.
Me? I say that.
Staying up here doesn't solve anything. All it does is kick the can down the road. If you don't deal with her now, she will find a way out. Those doors are made of stone and she's still in chains. She's strong, yeah, but is she break her chains and smash through stone strong?
Wouldn't it be exciting if she was?
Here's another idea. What if we just leave? Absolutely not. If you leave, she'll leave, and that'll be the end of everything as we know it. Did you pick up the blade just to mess with me? Is your brain that numb to the consequences of all this? Fine. You stay up here. Nothing happens. Are you done? Are you ready to finally start taking this seriously?
I'm ready to start taking this seriously. Put me in charge.
Oh, how I wish I could, because literally anyone else making decisions would be better than this. But unfortunately, that's beyond the scope of my abilities. Is she really just going to wait down there forever? She's got to start getting impatient eventually. Your thoughts are interrupted by the sound of the princess furiously stomping her way up the stairs. But what about her chains? What about them? They're clearly not holding her back any longer.
Yes, yes! We're finally going to get our rematch and there's nothing you can do to stop it.
I'm tired of waiting. You thought you could just leave me down here, didn't you? But I can feel you trembling on the other side of this door. There's nowhere left for you to run.
The entire cabin shakes as the princess throws herself against the basement door. We're fine, right?
Of course we are. Any second now she's gonna break through that entryway. And we're finally going to get to do what we came here to do.
Another impact shakes the cabin, a massive gash splitting its way up the stone doors.
Here she comes.
The doors explode outwards, shards of stone clattering against the walls as the princess emerges from the basement.
At least you finally have a weapon. Good.
We're doomed. In a fit of violence, the princess explodes across the room and closes the gap between you. You do your best to defend yourself from her onslaught, but you're sorely outmatched. For every wound you inflict on her, she inflicts 2 on you until, finally, you're no longer able to so much as stand. Your body is giving out.
Giving out? No, nobody's giving out. We're just getting started.
Don't be delusional, it's over. You fall to your knees.
Is that it? You're supposed to be tougher than this. Come on, get up, keep fighting me.
No, this isn't right. Listen to me. Listen to her. We can do this.
We can't.
Why won't you get up?
She kicks you in the chest, splinters from your shattered ribs stabbing into your heart and lungs. Your vision starts to swim. Finally, her face, twisted into an expression of disappointment and fury, fades. Everything goes dark, and you die. You're on a path in the woods. If you weren't so damned afraid of what she'd do to you, we wouldn't have died back there. Fear is good. Fear keeps us alive. We died because you didn't have enough of it. So what? You'd have us cower in a corner? No, but that place suits her better than it suits us. She's big. We can't hope to find holes and openings down there. We need more room if we're going to survive. Are you suggesting luring her into the woods? Do you have any idea how dangerous that would be? If you lose sight of her, if she manages to slip away, that's it. Game over for everyone, yourself included. Are you not challenging us on all the looping? Have you known about it the whole time? Are you the same one we've been talking to since the beginning? Sorry to disappoint what I'm sure must feel like a grand revelation, but that's not what's going on here. We've never met. Then what is going on? What's going on is that you'd only be saying the things you've been saying if you'd already been here, and if you'd already seen things you weren't supposed to have seen. It doesn't matter. We could go in circles forever. I don't like staying still for too long. Let's get to the cabin, see this through. It's good to know that at least one of you is still capable of reason. We may have the same destination, but we're not the same. You are still an other, and I don't trust you. Well, fortunately, you have an entire trip through the woods to reconsider that. There's nothing to reconsider. We're all for violence here. Are we? I haven't signed off on anything yet. Violence is the answer here, but the method is equally important to the act. You can't let her leave the cabin. It's like I said, all just circles. Instinct tells me we need space, and I trust instinct. Nothing else to say.
Not for me. It isn't long before you find yourself at the end of the path, staring up the hill at the cabin. I hope you've given serious thought to your predicament. No last advice for us? No words of warning? From what I gather, you've heard it all before. There's no use screaming into the wind. I don't know, screaming sounds pretty good right about now. I could use a little catharsis. Catharsis is for when we're finished. For now, we need to hold it out in front of us, something to chase. The interior of the cabin is suffocatingly tight, more of a glorified tunnel than a building. Its stone walls squeeze against your sides, leaving you no choice but to press forward. The only furniture of note is an iron altar jutting out from the wall, a pristine blade perched on its edge. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you're going to do this right. See? We have even less space than before. We need space or she'll kill us. And the only space is out there. Take it! You take the blade from the altar. It would be difficult to slay the princess and save the world without a weapon. Good. There's no overcoming her without it. We need every part of us to survive, and that steel claw is as much a part of us as any. You step forward and approach the door to the basement, hesitating before you open it, as if you don't see it. You do see it, right?
All we see is a damned mirror. It's a bit grimy. Why don't we wipe it clean?
You bring your fist crashing down against the door leading to the basement. It swings open, scraping against the floor as it reveals the dim path ahead. Before you is what may as well be a sheer cliff face. There are enough footholds that you'll be able to clamber your way to the bottom, but it will require careful effort. The air hissing up from below is warm and wet, like the breath of an enemy locked in close quarters. If the princess lives here, slaying her is probably doing her a favor. Her voice, bold and fierce and impatient, echoes from the chamber below.
Do you have more fight in you than last time? That was such a disappointing show. I know you can do better than that.
Goad her. Rile her up. If she's angry, she'll make mistakes.
Dead certain. Everything inside of me screams for it.
We need to get closer. She needs to see us to give chase. You've nowhere to go but down. You start the difficult journey, gripping the stone, lowering yourself foot by grueling foot. But soon, there is solid ground beneath you. Remember, every crack and crevice will need to be faster than her. You turn to face what lies at the end of the narrow tunnel. The princess, imposing and tightly muscled, grins back at you from the darkness. Her face widens into a broad grin.
There you are, knife in hand. How thrilling! Attack me, bleed me, twist the blade in my flesh, break your bones against my body. I want a real challenge this time.
We can't get that close. She'll kill us in the tight space, steel claw or not. Make her come to us, stand beyond her chains, and let her become frenzied. She'll break them. Then we run.
I really don't like the sound of this.
It's the only way we live.
Well, what are you waiting for? If we're gonna do this right, you can't be scared. You need to want this as much as I do. So go on. Make the first move. Don't keep me waiting.
Change your plans, boys.
Impatient. This is her home, not ours. You're going to let her kill us. You charge headlong into the princess, blade flashing in the dim light of the basement.
Yes, 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 yes! Finally, you get it!
For a moment, the scales feel balanced, each of you inflicting debilitating wounds on the other, striking in a dizzying synchronicity. But it isn't long before they tip in her favour. The cuts and bruises you've inflicted seem little more than superficial, barely so much as slowing her down as she continues her onslaught. You, in contrast, are finding it harder to stand as your body gradually becomes less responsive, less powerful, less stable. You can tell she's trying to make it last, but all it would take is one meaningful strike, the coup de grace.
This was good, but you could have been so much better. I'm beyond you now.
Here it comes. I'll see you all on the other side.
The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right. You take the blade from the table. It'd be rather difficult to slay the princess and save the world without it. The door to the basement creaks open, revealing a staircase faintly illuminated by an unseen light in the room below. This is an oppressive place. The air feels heavy and damp, a hint of rot filtering from the ancient wood. If the princess really lives here, slaying her is probably doing her a favor. Her voice carries up the stairs.
Who's there?
She sounds dangerous. It's almost as if she's the one in charge down here.
Don't let it fool you. It's all part of the manipulation. Good. You're still listening to reason. You walk down the stairs and lock eyes with the princess. There's a heavy chain around her wrist, binding her to the far wall of the basement.
She's so coldly beautiful. Is she really a threat to the world?
Focus on the task at hand.
And there you are. Are you here to kill me or something?
You step forward, your grip on the blade tightening as you steel your resolve.
Oh? No talking then? Fine. What even makes you think you can kill me? I'm probably chained up in this basement for a reason, right? And if that knife is the only weapon you have, you'll have to get close enough to use it. So, you should just drop it. Best not to risk finding out what I can do.
She's unarmed. If you hesitate now, it'll be too late. End this. I'm positive. I'm not. But we'll keep our eyes peeled. If she has a weapon, she'll have to draw it before she can use it.
Hesitating? Why don't you drop the knife and the two of us can be civilized with each other?
You charge the princess, blade in hand, but unfortunately your earlier suspicions proved correct. A blade of her own slips down her sleeve and catches you in the neck. Blood sprays from the cut, your severed carotid artery painting the princess with strokes of red. You'd better finish your task quickly before you run out of time. With the last bit of your will, you press forward, sinking the blade deep into the princess's heart.
Oh.
The two of you collapse on the floor together, rapidly bleeding out.
Somehow, I thought this would turn out a little differently. But I wonder, do you really think that this was enough to stop me?
It's like she's convinced she can't die. But you don't have time to worry over such things. Everything goes dark, and you die.
You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world. A warning before you go any further. She will lie, she will cheat, and she will do everything in her power to stop you from slaying her. Don't believe a word she says.
He couldn't be more on the money, but we're really doing this, aren't we? I'd say you're lost, but I'm stuck here with you. We know what to look out for this time. We know to be careful. Just stay focused and you'll be fine.
The interior of the cabin is a jagged mess of warped wood and broken boards, their splintered edges as uninviting as shattered glass. The only furniture of note is a pointed table with a pristine blade perched on its edge. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right. You take the blade from the table. It will be difficult to slay the princess and save the world without a weapon.
It feels a bit better to have a weapon in our hands. Let's make her hurt for what she's done to us.
The door to the basement creaks open, revealing what must once have been stairs. The fractured slats look as if they've been torn from their source and violently jammed into the wall. The air seeping up from below has an almost metallic quality to it, like the smell of fresh blood. And you can hear what sounds like the rhythmic scraping of metal coming from down below. If the princess lives here, slaying her would probably be doing her a favour.
Scraping? She's not even trying to hide her knife. It's like she wants to get in our head.
That sound could be anything. It's probably just her chains dragging across the floor. I am begging you to get out of your head. Her grating voice carries up the stairs.
I hope you've come to rescue me. I've been stuck down here forever.
There is something so wrong with that voice. Yeah, she thinks she's better than us, like she doesn't even have to put on an act this time.
As you descend the final step, the form of the princess comes into view, her sharp eyes following you from across the room.
Finally, somebody! Quick, get me out of these chains. We're not safe here.
Come on now, we're not falling for that, are we? She's trying to trick us, but she can't hide that threatening edge to her voice. She just wants us to get close, to let our guard down.
If she sounds threatening, it's because her mask is already slipping. She knows why you're here. You are armed, after all.
What are you waiting for? You are here to rescue me, right?
The princess falls silent, her smile unwavering as you charge across the room.
Okay, she hasn't pulled out a knife yet, and her hands are still behind her back. I think we can do this. I think we can win. We just have to strike now, but make sure you keep your eyes on those hands. I don't trust her for a second.
But your focus is broken by the horrible sound of metal slicing through meat.
Whose meat? Not ours, right?
Hers, at first, then yours.
Hehe.
How? What did she even hit us with?
You stare down at your chest and at the long, thin blade she impaled you with. And then the red, angry slit along the flesh of her thigh, where the blade had been nestled just a moment ago. It still lodged in her leg, emerging from her knee, hinging up and out of her body like some extra metallic limb.
Bullshit. Absolute bullshit.
You're going to die now.
With a twist of her knee and a painful squelch, she does just that. Everything goes dark, and you die. You're on a path in the woods.
No, fuck that. If we're gonna have to keep doing this over and over and over again, we're not starting in that goddamn woods every time. We're starting in the fucking cabin.
You're what? The interior of the cabin is sharp, a constricting mess of curved and battered sheet metal pushing you towards... Wait, excuse me? What just happened? What did you just do? I feel dizzy.
Oh ho ho ho! I guess I took us to the cabin, didn't I?
Isn't that interesting? Who holds the cards now?
The circle's getting smaller and smaller. Running isn't an option anymore. We have to fight.
Good. It's better that way. Without a fight, no one can win, and if no one can win, then nothing has any meaning.
Great, so obviously you've already been here. How many times?
This is our third?
No wonder things have fallen apart. You do realise that every time you fail, she escapes and an entire world is damned to destruction, right?
That can't be right, that's too much responsibility.
Nah, impossibly high stakes make the fight so much better.
Let's just stay focused, shall we? The only furniture of note is a bent metal table, a pristine blade perched.
We take it. Okay, sure, you take the blade before letting me finish telling you it's there. It would be difficult to slay the princess and save the world without a weapon.
This feels right. We just have to keep our senses sharp.
That's right, we've got to be able to win eventually.
We will win eventually. Hell, we might even win now.
That's a fighting spirit I like to see. You could all learn a thing or two from this one. I'd love to get started just as much as you would, but how are we supposed to get down there?
You walk through the door.
You do know what doors are, right? There isn't a door, there's just that mirror. There isn't a mirror. You really messed things up, didn't you? It's like you can't even see reality anymore.
I can feel the air coming up from behind it, stinking of iron and steel. He might be right. Could be a trick. If our other senses can't feel it, then we can't trust it.
If it's in our way, let's just break it and move on.
You make your way to the door at the end of the room, stopping just in front of it.
You really must think you're looking at a mirror. Well, it doesn't exist. Just reach forward and open it. Let's just fumble for the handle and be done with it. I don't care what we look like. I care about getting to the end of this mess.
You reach forward and place your hand on the door to the basement. It creaks open.
And the mirror's gone. How surprising.
It was never there. Just an illusion.
Let's just get to the princess already. I didn't care about the mirror before, and I care about it even less now.
Guess it's time for us to see her again.
Just stay focused and you'll be fine. You step forward, but you don't get a chance to linger on the basement stairs. They are smooth and flat and metallic, an unintentional and unfortunately slippery ramp that quickly sends you skittering to the bottom. Your body tumbles onto the basement floor and the form of the princess comes into view, standing at a distance. She gives you a wry smile.
Hi, it looks like you don't have a way out, so I'm not going to play dumb anymore. But don't worry about how bad you did last time. That's part of the fun.
She's got another thing coming if she thinks we're going down easy again.
Pride makes us dead. The only thing that matters is survival.
Actually, does survival matter? We've died twice and nothing bad has come of it. We just need to find a way to win once.
Nothing bad has come of it yet.
Plenty bad has come of it. You've left at least one entire world to ruin. The people there mattered.
The past isn't real. There's only here and now.
Your internal bickering is cut short by the wet sound of slicing meat. From the princess's arms erupt twin blades glistening with her blood, the empty flesh of her arms flopping at her elbows like torn sleeves. The chain clatters to the floor. She's loose, and she is coming for you.
You're going to make me walk over to you, aren't you?
Shit. She's coming for us and I'm out of ideas.
Yes, yes, this is the best idea anyone has ever had.
Yeah, sure, why the hell not? Let's see if we can turn off the part of us that feels things.
Pain is good. It's how we stay alive.
Nah, I'm sick of pain. Yeah, this whole thing would be a lot more tolerable if it didn't hurt so much.
Just standing there, huh? A bold strategy.
The princess closes the distance and
we dodge.
And you dodge.
And we fight back.
and you fight back.
Oh, you're fast. But let's see how fast you really are.
You and the princess enter a quick and vicious exchange, each of you wounding the other, but neither landing a fatal blow.
Yes, this is exactly it.
But the dance couldn't last forever. All it takes is a single clumsy moment. She skewers you.
Gotcha.
And? Does it hurt?
No. Oh, a new one of us. I thought that only happens when we die. Did we die? You're on a... No, you're in a... Where the hell are you?
I don't like that we died without us knowing it. This really, really blurs some lines that I prefer not to be blurred. Are we still dead? Are we alive again? How are we even supposed to know the difference?
If we didn't realize we were dead, then we made progress. Good job. Stop saying dead, all of you. We might have died a second ago, but right now we're extremely not dead. This is all horribly wrong. How many times have you been here?
This is 4.
No wonder everything's such a mess. This wasn't supposed to go past 1.
I wonder what you're going to do next. You're so full of ideas, and I love that.
But I guess we don't have time to talk about things before the princess advances. Fists raised, you charge the princess.
Oh, so you do want to fight, huh? Okay, hit me. Hit me and see what happens. I'll give you a free shot and everything.
Here goes. We can make this work.
Yeah. Mind over matter, mind over matter, mind over matter. What if she's lying? What if she isn't going to give us a free shot? Your fist slams into the princess's face and she recoils in pain. Huh. We actually did something to her.
Ow, 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 ow. That hurt. What are your bones made of? Metal? Because mine are.
Before you can react, she returns a punch of her own. Only it isn't really a punch. Yes, we all know she has swords for arms. We have eyes. Well, she skewers you. Ow.
Come on. Show me something new.
None of this is working. Think. Think. She skewers you. Well, there's more of us. Let's see if that helps. Then you skewer yourself.
I thought we both understood that dying doesn't get you anywhere.
Huh. That didn't do much of anything. We're tougher than I thought. What's the point? It's all the same. She skewers you.
Oh, don't give up on me just yet. You gotta keep going.
It doesn't matter how many times this takes, we can't give up.
Okay, let's go again.
Compliment her on those gleaming blades. There's nothing better than a capable woman. She skewers you.
You're cute.
See? We're getting better.
Okay, yeah, that was a good one.
Just panic. Flee. She skewers you.
No, you don't get to escape. That's not how this works.
We're getting close to something, can't you feel it? One last time.
You're right. One last time, that's all we need.
Let's appeal to her better nature. We haven't tried that. I'm sure she'll listen to reason. She skewers you. And then everything goes dark, and you die. Your Honor, don't lose your head. We're in a cabin, and we'll take it from here.
Everything feels like it finally fits, doesn't it? We're up here, which is different, and different is good. And our steel claw is already in our hand.
Ho-ho! What if we throw it out the window?
Over my dead body.
That won't be very hard. We've died a lot. But I can't say I mind anymore.
Besides, what better way to die so very many times than at the sharp hands of a beautiful woman?
I'm sure I can think of a better way to die.
They're all the same, really.
How about we stop thinking about horrible ways to die? I don't want us to accidentally manifest anything. The only thing we're gonna manifest is finally ending up on top. There are entirely too many of you. How many times have you been here? This isn't good. This is... How about you stick to describing things, and we'll stick to doing them?
Yeah, leave it to the pros. We'll notch up that win in no time.
Narrator, we heroically stride through the door and towards our destined final encounter with our star-crossed lover.
Fine by me. You walk to the door and onto the basement stairs, only it's more of a slide. We know. Fine, I'll just shut up then and speed this whole thing along. Are you sure you don't want me to describe the stairs, or this room, or anything? It feels like I'm hardly a part of this. Don't care, just want to win. Fine, you make your way to the basement, where the princess awaits you.
You know, this last time I killed you, and you didn't pop right back up again? I thought I'd actually done it. I thought I'd cut you into so many pieces you just weren't able to stitch yourself back together. But I guess we're not done. That's okay with me. It's good even. I like that. I got something ready for you while you were gone. Do you want to see it? I'm not going to wait for an answer. I'm just going to show you. It's worth it though. Just you wait. And not for very long, because I'm going to do it right now.
Are you going to say what she does? Do you want me to talk now? Well, yeah, she says she has something new. I want to hear about the new thing. Yeah, me too. I think I speak for all of us when I say that I would like to hear you describe her new thing. Really? Okay then.
Here we go. Now.
The princess's skin twists, splitting into red blooms of raw meat as it stretches and tears. And then it erupts. She becomes a wave of blood and viscera, pieces of her splattering against the walls. All that remains in the center of the room is a skeleton of blades. A heart beats furiously in its cage of a chest.
Are you ready for what comes next?
Holy shit! She's gorgeous. Absolutely divine.
Yes, behold, the perfect woman.
Do you think we can throw her out the window? That looked painful.
How is she still alive?
Heart's still beating, that's all she needs. This is fake. This is all fake. That's all just made up. She doesn't even have a back anymore. How are we supposed to stab her in it?
This is all just a sick joke. I hate existing.
We're screwed. I quit. I'm done. Forget it. What just happened? It's so quiet.
Something feels different about you. It almost makes me feel different. Like I should actually take this seriously for once. You're incredible.
The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right. You take the blade from the altar. It would be difficult to slay the princess and save the world without a weapon. The door to the basement creaks open, revealing a rough stone staircase, its walls pressing at your sides and tightening as you descend. The air seeping from below is heavy and oppressive, with an almost sulphuric odor to it. If the princess lives here, slaying her would probably be doing her a favor. Her fierce voice carries up the stairs.
Is that another challenger? Finally. It's been ages since I've had a good fight.
This isn't what she sounded like last time. Her voice is a little deeper, almost threatening.
Good. Sounds like my kind of princess.
As much as I appreciate the enthusiasm, just make sure you don't let your bloodlust get to your head. You need to stay focused and keep your wits about you. Remember, you're here to slay the princess, not to have a good fight. As you descend the final step, the form of the princess comes into view, a large shackle leading from her wrist to the basement wall. It looks like she could rip those chains out of the wall without a second thought.
Oh, it's you again. I'd been hoping you'd find your way back here. Good to see that death doesn't stick for either of us. And you brought your little knife, too. Yes! I'm going to have fun breaking you into little pieces. Oh, you've got another thing coming if you think you can just turn around and leave.
As you step towards the stairs, you hear the heavy creak of straining metal, and then a snap. She's loose. You have to make a decision, and you have to make it fast. As the princess barrels towards you, you do your best to maneuver between the tight walls of the basement. You do your best to outplay her, slashing out and leaving red cuts in the tattered remains of her white dress. But you have little room to maneuver. For every glancing blow you manage to land, she slams you against the wall in retaliation, each impact threatening to be the last.
This weak little dance isn't working. Just toughen up and overpower her.
She's throwing us around like a ragdoll. I think overpowering her is a little out of the question.
Did you think you could stop me with a few cuts? All this dancing around is doing nothing but annoying me. I own this place, and I own you.
The princess's arm shoots forward, her palm wrapping around your head, fingers gripping your skull.
How disappointing.
She squeezes, the pressure unbearable as her fingers dig into your scalp. The last thing you hear is the unsettling crack of your skull, and the sickening churn of what was your grey matter. Everything goes dark, and you die. The interior of the cabin is suffocatingly tight, more of a glorified tunnel than a building. Its stone walls squeeze against your sides, leaving you no choice but to press forward. The only furniture of note is an iron altar jutting out from the wall, a pristine blade perched on its edge. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you're going to do this right. See? We have even less space than before. We need space or she'll kill us. And the only space is out there. Take it! We can try to survive without our steel claw, but you've marked us as easy prey. You step forward and approach the door to the basement, hesitating before you open it, as if you don't see it. You do see it, right?
All we see is a damned mirror.
It's a bit grimy. Why don't we wipe it clean? You bring your fist crashing down against the door leading to the basement. It swings open, scraping against the floor as it reveals the dim path ahead. Before you is what may as well be a sheer cliff face. There are enough footholds that you'll be able to clamber your way to the bottom, but it will require careful effort. The air hissing up from below is warm and wet, like the breath of an enemy locked in close quarters. If the princess lives here, slaying her is probably doing her a favor. Her voice, bold and fierce and impatient, echoes from the chamber below.
Do you have more fight in you than last time? That was such a disappointing show. I know you can do better than that.
Goad her. Rile her up. If she's angry, she'll make mistakes. You've nowhere to go but down. You start the difficult journey, gripping the stone, lowering yourself foot by grueling foot. But soon, there is solid ground beneath you. Remember, every crack and crevice will need to be faster than her. You turn to face what lies at the end of the narrow tunnel. The princess, imposing and tightly muscled, grins back at you from the darkness. Her face droops.
There you are. But this time you don't even have that little knife. Do you think this is a joke? Do you need me to break those fragile bones again to remind you how serious this is?
She's bubbling, hot with rage. We can't get close if we want to live. But we'll be able to draw her out of here. She's hungry for us. I know I said this earlier, but I really have to stress how thin of a razor's edge you're on right now. We know the only way out is through the eye of the needle. And we're going to win. We'll need the steel claw. Grab it as we leave. Bloody desire in her eyes, the princess rushes forward, ignoring her chains as they bend and snap. Run. Without hesitation, you turn back the way you came and scramble up the ledge towards the tunnel entrance. As you near the top, hands desperately clawing at jagged stone, you glance back. The princess is right on your heels. She doesn't bother to scale the wall as you do, instead digging deep into the rock of the cliff face with her fingertips in her rapid pursuit.
Anywhere you go, I will follow.
Good. You reach the ledge and hoist yourself up into the tunnel, the cabin door finally in sight, at once within your grasp and infinitely distant.
What is all of this for? What's the point? You and I are always going to end in violence, so why bother to run? I know what I am. Why can't you be the same?
Steel claw, now. Without missing a step, you grab the blade from the altar.
So you do want to fight me? Good.
We're almost there. Don't think about almost. We're there when we're there. And we'll take the fight with us. Your skin hums tight with adrenaline as you burst through the cabin door and roll onto the grass. You glance back at the cabin as the princess, singular in her desire to destroy you, explodes through the doorway. You are walking a dangerous path. If you waver once, it's all over. So get it right.
There's nothing left to slow me down. Do you think this is better for you? Do you think this space gives you an edge? Then show me. Show me that you've been worth all the room you've taken up in my head.
Do it. Be swift, strike true, be where she's not. Let your body move you.
Oh, we'll see about that. Traps aren't real. The only thing that's real is bloodshed.
She charges, fully determined to end you in a single move. Left, now! As the princess strikes, your body swerves to the left. She overextends, stumbling as her balance shifts unexpectedly. Strike. Before you can finish the thought, you lash out, the blade slicing through her leg. She turns to swing again. Right. You move out of the way, but this time it's not quite as clean. You can feel a bruise already blooming where her elbow crashed into flesh. It's nothing. A scratch. Yes, it could be worse. And you managed to gift her another cut in return. I'll be damned.
We're actually going to pull this off, aren't we?
You just might. But don't let it get to your head. Not until it's over.
Yes, finally! This is the hole I've felt in my heart. This is what I've needed. This is what I've been missing. This is how it always needed to end. Both of us giving it our all, beating and bleeding each other to death.
The two of you engage in a devastating flurry of blows, each of you wounding the other again and again. She's stronger, but you're faster, and the deeper the both of you fall into your lethal dance, the more your edge shines over hers. She's slowing down, blood pouring from wounds, splattering at her feet, leaving her weak and unsteady.
More! Keep going! We can't stop now!
You spy an opening, but this time she's waiting for you. She lets you sink the blade deep, trapping you in place long enough to wrap you in her impenetrable arms. You're slammed to the ground.
Nothing! These blows are nothing to us!
But her gambit wasn't enough to close the gap. It wasn't enough to kill you. She stares you down, coughing up a splash of blood as she gasps for breath.
You've outplayed me, haven't you? Something feels wrong. Something.
And? Then what happens?
The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right. The door to the basement creaks open, revealing a staircase faintly illuminated by an unseen light in the room below. This is an oppressive place. The air feels heavy and damp, a hint of rot filtering from the ancient wood. If the princess really lives here, slaying her is probably doing her a favor. Her voice softly carries up the stairs.
Hello? Is someone there?
It's hypnotizing. It's the kind of voice you only have to hear once to remember it for the rest of your life. Don't let it fool you. It's all part of the manipulation. You're playing a dangerous game by coming here unarmed. Good. You're still listening to reason. It would be better if you had a weapon, but you may still be able to do what needs to be done. You walk down the stairs and lock eyes with the princess. There's a heavy chain around her wrist, binding her to the far wall of the basement. She's beautiful. How could someone like this be a threat to anyone? I am begging you to stay focused. There's a lot riding on you here.
Hi. Do you think you can get me out of these chains?
You're only making this more difficult.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're making a huge mistake. No, you're doing the right thing. You walk up to the chains binding the princess to the wall and give them a tug. They're large and heavy, far too solid for you to even imagine trying to break them apart.
I'm guessing you don't have the key?
Maybe it's somewhere upstairs. Doubtful. Whoever locked the princess away down here intended for her to never see the light of day. They wouldn't have just left the key to her chains somewhere in the cabin.
Okay. I'll be here. Good luck.
You attempt to make your way out of the basement, but the door at the top of the stairs slams shut. You hear the click of a lock sliding into place. Is someone else here? You try the door, but it's locked from the outside. You make your way to the bottom of the stairs. This would have been so much easier if you'd just taken the blade like you were supposed to. Easier for whom? Easier for everyone. Look at the mess you're in.
I heard the door slam. They locked you down here too, didn't they?
There's a slight panic rising in the princess's voice.
If I could just get out of these chains, I know we could force our way out of here together.
She barely hesitates before raising her arm to her mouth, her teeth tearing through her limb with the determination of a trapped wolf. As she rips her flesh from her bone, a sound comes from behind you, the clang of bouncing metal. It's the blade from upstairs. You're not sure how it made its way down here, but if there's a time to strike, it's now. Or we could use it to free her. You won't like what happens if you do that. Without hesitation, you bring the blade down and plunge it into the princess's back. Finally. The wound drives her to the ground.
Okay, there's no going back now. I'm with you to the end.
You bastard! Were you lying to me this whole time?
The princess pushes away from you, the motion ripping the blade from her back. Wounded, but still alive, she crouches on all fours in the corner of the room and meets your eyes with the ferocity of a cornered predator.
You've made a terrible enemy, and there's nothing in the world that can possibly save you from me.
I thought we had the upper hand, but it's as if she's barely even threatened by us.
It's an act. She's wounded and unarmed. There's nothing she can do to hurt you.
I'm not so sure.
Don't waver now. As you ready your blade to deliver a lethal blow, she lunges at your legs with the same animal ferocity she used to tear at her arm. Your knife cuts into her again and again as you're tackled to the ground, your body racked with pain as she rips into you with tooth and claw.
Forget about trying to rescue her. This is about survival now. Give her everything you've got.
Though your nerves are seizing with pain, you know you've done your fair share of damage as well, your blade having left deep gashes in the princess's back. You seize a moment of hesitation to throw her off of you and shakily push yourself back to your knees.
We can still turn this around.
You steel your resolve and take another step closer to the princess. You probably won't make it out of here alive, but you can still make sure that she won't make it out of here either.
Excuse me? What's this about not making it out of here alive?
Do you think this is what I wanted to happen? I have a duty to state the facts of the situation, and honestly, it's a miracle anyone in this room is still standing right now. Don't act so surprised.
Can you not feel all those gashes and holes pulling you apart? If the princess doesn't do you in here, blood loss is certain to finish the job.
You take another step forward, and the princess lunges towards you. The two of you enter one last exchange, a flurry of blade and claw and fleshy ribbons, and then you stop. Neither you nor princess able to go any further. You collapse on the ground, and the princess collapses beside you. Blood pools around you both, and you watch each other fade away.
After all this time alone, I thought I'd finally found a friend, but you were just another monster, weren't you?
Silence as the room starts to get fuzzy around you. You've paid a terrible price, but you've saved us all. It's over.
If you think this is it, you're sorely mistaken. One way or another, I'll make sure you pay for this.
But you don't have time to worry over such things. Everything goes dark, and you die.
You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world. A warning before you go any further. She will lie, she will cheat, and she will do everything in her power to stop you from slaying her. Don't believe a word she says.
Don't worry. You can trust us to get the job done. The interior of the cabin is a mess of twisted roots. The walls a chaotic weave of knotted wood that, almost as if by accident, just happened to resemble a room. The floor is damp and earthy, and the only furniture of note is a slab of mud in the shape of a shelf, with a pristine blade perched on its edge. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right. You take the blade from the shelf. It would be difficult to slay the princess and save the world without a weapon.
Well, if we're grabbing a weapon, we should probably keep it hidden behind our backs. She doesn't have to know we have it. That's not actually a bad idea. The door to the basement creaks open, revealing a staircase dug into the muddy earth below. The ceiling is thick with roots that hang like locks of tangled hair. The weak starlight from the cabin windows behind you can barely penetrate the gloom here, only illuminating the edges of an opening below. It shines in the darkness like some kind of massive maw, waiting to swallow you up into the earth. The air smells of dirt and copper. It's thick and wet, as if your lungs are being coated in mud with each intake of breath. If the princess lives here, slaying her would probably be doing her a favour. Her voice skitters up from below.
Something nasty finds itself on my stairs. Come on down. Don't be scared. I probably won't bite. Silence, I see. Don't think I've forgotten about you. I recognized the sound of your nervous little footsteps as soon as they came into my home. I know who you are, and I remember what you've done.
She must have you confused with someone else. She seems friendly enough. Maybe we can talk our way out of this whole situation. You can't. Unless you slay her right away, she's going to break free and end the world. There's no reasoning with what she is. Look, I'm just throwing ideas out there. I like to think out loud. I'm the kind of guy who likes a discussion. Don't we want to hear what everyone has to say before making any big decisions? Do you want to hear what everyone has to say? Or do you just want to hear yourself talk? You need to stop lingering. Your task is to slay the princess, not endlessly debate about what to do with the princess. Fine. You're the boss. Thank you. You descend the basement steps, entering the dark room below. You can just make out the shape of the princess in the gloom. She's huddled against the far wall, her eyes bright and glaring from amid the thick roots.
And there you are, one hand tucked away behind your back, gripping that sharp, sharp blade, no doubt.
That's no fair. How would she know that?
So, we've dropped the pretenses. Good.
She's acting like the two of you already know each other. Oh, no. You've already been here, haven't you? That's pretty sharp. How'd you figure that one out? Call it deductive reasoning. Well, you seem to be great at it. Do you remember us then? Do you remember last time? No, I don't. But you and the princess clearly have a shared reality, even if I'm not a part of it. I won't waste time fighting you on something that's clearly true. I'm just glad we could put all this behind us. Is it all behind us? Just focus on the task at hand. I don't care if you've been here before, and I don't care if you think you'll go somewhere else after this. My world is on the line right now, so I'd appreciate it if you would take this seriously and slay her. Let's chat her up a bit first. Maybe we can find a middle ground where everyone's happy. Don't talk to her. You're just going to make things more difficult than they have to be.
Well, I seem to remember you having a tongue.
Without uttering a word, you charge the princess. So much for finding an easy way out. I can't believe you're making us work for it.
Better a violent fool than a plotting coward. Better for me, at least.
As you close the distance, readying your strike, the princess's chain falls from her wrist. She takes advantage of your split second of surprise and throws a fistful of dirt into your eyes. She could have gotten out of those the whole time. That sneaky little... A woman after my own heart, really. It's a shame we're playing opposite teams. This is why you couldn't just abandon her here. Left to her own devices, she would always find a way out. Now stop her.
You must have known I would be ready for you. Deep in your heart, you know the same things about me I know about you. We're both so very awful.
As you brush the silt from your eyes, the princess tackles you, flattening you against the dirt floor.
We were always going to kill each other here, weren't we? I can't trust you, and you can't trust me, and those doubts spin and spin and spin into hate.
She buries her teeth deep into your chest, tearing at...
Great, she's distracted. Stab her in the back. In for a penny, right? Why not?
As the princess rips meat from bone, you plunge your weapon into her unprotected back.
Ha, you bastard! Even face to face, you find a way to stab me in the back. I know you, and you're hideous, absolutely wretched. Just like me.
Maybe we are the same. So what? Throw her off us. Kick her in the shins. We don't have to fight so dirty.
Of course we do. Fighting clean won't help us win. Takes a wretch to know a wretch, and we're all at the bottom of the barrel here. There's no point in pretending otherwise.
Are we? At the bottom of the barrel? We've got dirt in our eyes and a chunk of us chewed out. If that's not the bottom of the barrel, what is? No arguments here. You're doing great. Keep playing dirty if that's what it takes.
But if we win, we won't be at the bottom anymore. We'll have climbed a little higher, and once we start climbing, well, who knows where we'll stop? You'll stop right here if you keep daydreaming. Don't let yourself get distracted thinking about what comes after.
None of us ever said we stopped fighting.
And what a low and vicious fight it is. Eyes gouged, skin scratched bloody, hair ripped and nails broken. Every rule there ever was in the book of honourable combat, both you and the princess have broken 12 times over. That's nice and all, but are we winning?
Nobody's winning. I thought playing dirty was supposed to give you the upper hand, but I suppose that doesn't work if you both sink to the same lows. Still, at least you're not losing.
The princess cackles maniacally as the fracas continues. But behind her cackle, you hear the low groan of warping wood.
Wait, what's going on?
We're establishing a newer, better pecking order.
No, the groaning thing. Why is the wood making noise?
Who cares about the groan? It's just a sound. Things make sounds all the time.
I care about the groan. Doesn't that mean something bad is happening?
Oh, yes, well, I'm afraid that's the sound of the basement getting smaller.
Do you hear that, you pathetic wretch? Those are the roots of the wild, and they're coming to choke the breath from your lungs and squeeze the life out of you.
Excuse me, what?
You and the princess disengage for a brief moment, just long enough to get your bearings. Behind you, the basement door has been sealed over, thick roots barring your only exit from the dirt pit. And slowly, but very perceptibly, the roots are closing in on you both.
That's right, they're coming for you, and they won't stop until there's nothing left down here but them. As long as you suffer while you die, I'll gladly suffer with you. Especially if I get to see it happen.
This doesn't help anyone. I can't believe she'd kill us both just to spite me. See? This is exactly why you've been tasked to slay her. She's an antisocial monster who'll gladly burn the whole world for her satisfaction. The roots grow ever closer.
We know. We can see them.
You attack the princess once more, and once more the two of you fall into a vicious brawl. The basement continues to shrink as you fight, but neither of you pay it any more mind. Not until it's too late. The roots twist around you both, binding your limbs and rendering you helpless. As your fates close in, all you can do is watch her, and all she can do is watch you. At first it's almost gentle, the two of you lifted delicately off the ground. But the cradle of the growing roots soon gives way to tightness, and that tightness gives way to bulging pressure as they begin to constrict. The sound of creaking wood is drowned out by the snaps and pops of your bones, pain flooding your senses as you feel your skin deform, being shaped unnaturally by the living basement. Tears well up in the princess's eyes, her own bones splintering and flesh swelling with trapped blood. But still she smiles through it all.
I can't wait to do this again, you wretched little thing. I hate you, but I wouldn't have it any other way.
The pressure is unbearable. You can't breathe, your vision swimming with red, your head pounding as everything tightens. And then you pop. Everything goes dark, and you die.
We are a path in the woods. We have no beginning, and we have no end, but something cold and unnatural sits watching us from just beyond our edge. His gaze pushes against our borders, curling them in on themselves, preventing them from stretching to the places they need to reach.
No, that's all wrong. You're not a path in the woods, you're on a path in the woods. Who's even saying that? That's not the princess, is it? Oh no. How many times have you been here? I think this is our third? That's bad. That's very, very bad. It wasn't even supposed to reach 2. If you're at 3, well, no wonder things aren't the way they're supposed to be. Let's get our facts straight. What happened last time? What could you have possibly done for things to be like this?
The thing that sits beyond our edge speaks his logic into us. He tries to grasp at things that cannot be grasped. He tries to stare with wide pupils at that which can only be held from the corner of the eye or with a passing glance.
Shut up. The rest of you, talk. What happened? What did you do?
Sure, there's no reason to keep secrets. Someone decided to go in guns blazing last time, and that someone got us killed.
And what should we have done? Let you draw things out with all that conniving? Everyone knows a straight fight is best. It's honest.
There's no need to bicker about it. I wasn't trying to start anything. I don't mind what happened to us. I kind of like it now that we aren't actively being crushed.
Yeah, now that you mention it, this isn't so bad.
And it's not like the fight is what killed us anyway, it was the cabin. No point worrying about who charged who when that place ground us all into paste in the end, the princess included.
It was a fitting end. I'm sorry if it hurt, but doesn't this make it all seem so small?
I see. So the cabin ground you into paste, and now you're convinced you're stuck together. What a mess.
He doesn't understand. We aren't convinced of anything, and we aren't stuck together. We're one. This is how we're supposed to be. Can't you feel it?
You can't just passively exist forever. Not with her. That isn't how it works. I don't care if it was the cabin that killed you, because it seems to me like she was the reason the cabin could even do something like that in the first place. You need to remember that you and the princess are enemies. Don't let bygones be bygones. Remember what she's done to you and how much it hurt.
We can't go back to that. We can't go back to the doubting and the hatred and the schemes. Not after being something as beautiful as this. Doesn't all that conflict feel so far away right now? So petty? We've been posed against each other by something that understands the strength of our unity.
Spoken like, honestly, a real puppet master. Have we considered that maybe she's the one trying to trick us?
I'm not.
But there's a feeling, isn't there? That petty feeling she mentioned, it is fuzzy, but it's there. Almost like she still hates us.
It feels mutual.
Please, stop. If you pay attention to that feeling, we'll fall apart. Don't look at it!
She's trying to turn you away from the truth. There's something she doesn't want you to see. I think you already know you have to look at it.
Hold yourself together. We're no strangers to effort. We can push this back down. Something might do us in eventually, but I'll be damned if that something is a thought.
Please, don't make us remember how we were.
And just like that, you start to fall apart. Right, she really does hate us, and we hate her. It hurts thinking about us as separate things, but we're separate. We can't hate ourselves. I love me.
We never got to see the end of that fight, did we? And we can't both be winners. One of us has to beat the other, right?
I don't want to remember what it felt like to be killed. It was so much nicer when it didn't feel like it mattered. And yet you keep remembering. You remember the loathing and animosity you've shared with the princess, the pain and the anger and the betrayal. And you start to remember something else, too. You remember that you are a distinct being with a finite form and a mortal body. And you can feel it. There is a shifting of the space around you, the infinitesimal movement of your molecules rearranging back into the shape of what you're meant to be.
Maybe bygones can't be bygones. I don't know why I ever wanted to share a body with you, of all things. It's like my very soul reeks of yours. That was horrible. This is better, finally. I'll be able to hurt you like you deserve. I wish I didn't have to.
Some division, when sown, can never truly be mended. A cavernous gash rips across whatever it was you thought you were. A cabin comes into being among the trees. It approaches, and it swallows your body whole. And then you find yourself, blade in hand, exactly where you need to be. At the center of it all is the princess, a wooden and fleshy heart beating with an unbroken rhythm. You're filled with a sense of purpose. Strike at her. End this once and for all.
Kill me then, if you hate me so much. Just get it over with.
This doesn't feel like a fight. This isn't what I wanted. Where's the victory in this?
Well, this should be easy. If you're sure about it.
I mean, what's the point of being king of the hill if there's no one around to be better than? We'd just be sitting on a hill.
Do we have to do this? You have to. You know you have to. You devious little bastard. If you think I'm going to let you free her, you have another thing coming. And that other thing is... we'll just have to wait and find out when it happens.
Just ignore him. What's he gonna do? Lecture us into submission? He can talk all he wants.
He's weak. Thinks he can boss us around when he doesn't have any authority. We're clearly the ones with authority around here, so we can do whatever we like. You're tired, aren't you? No, I'm not. I'm... fine. Whatever. You cut the princess down from the roots that bind her. I hope you're happy. Good luck getting her out of here.
I didn't think you would do that after everything. It's so cold without you.